Hello, friend. Henry Flowers here, Powerful Living Outreach Ministry, once again coming at you. Listen, if you want to be a part of the show, you got content ideas, you got questions, you want to connect with us in a real way here in the Cincinnati area, you can give us a call. The number is 513-404-7793. That's right. Powerful Living 2022 at gmail.com. Send us your comments, questions, ideas, that kind of stuff. If you want to visit us live in person, you can come, because after this podcast, and I got a lot to say to them, it's going to be the third part of the self-esteem podcast topic. The self-esteem. So I got a lot to say today. I'll do a lot of how-tos today because, we spend too much time talking about the problem when there's not enough time, nearly enough time spent on the solution. So today I'm going to give you some real life solutions on how to move from where you are to living a life that you love in this area of self-esteem, how to love yourself more, how to be a better you tomorrow than you were today and yesterday. Okay, so if you want to visit us, we'll be at the Upper Room. That's right, we're having empowerment sessions at the Upper Room here in the Cincinnati area. You want to come because after the podcast we get together live and work on these distinctions together, like practicing these things full like interactive, practicing languages, scenarios, going over stuff. We want to get it on the inside of you. Man, there's a whole bunch of people inside a church, but somehow the church is not on the inside of enough of us to be more loving and more powerful the way God created us to be. And so when we leave the church, we want to have this transition. And that's what that's what Powerful Living is all about. And that's what the empowerment sessions are designed to do. So we're at the Upper Room, 5616 Wolf Pen Pleasant Hill Road in Milford, Ohio, just right off of 275, one block from Milford High School and Milford Middle School, whichever direction you're coming from. Real simple, right up there in the Upper Room at General Dentistry, 5616 Wolf Pen Pleasant Hill Road. You want to join us. So listen, we're going to jump right in because I got a lot that I want to share with you today. I don't know. There's a lot. I got so many notes here. I just, sometimes I just go on these, I have these brainstorms when it comes to this thing that I love, this gospel that I love. It changed my life. It changed my life. And it made me into someone that I never thought I would be. That's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why I speak about it as much as I can. I'm always looking for an opportunity to get in front of somebody, get into an audience. I drive people around from here or there, to or fro. I'm in the transportation business. That's what I'm doing, what I gotta do. And sometimes you do what you gotta do until you can get to the point where you can do what you love to do, make no mistake. When I'm driving people back and forth to their destinations, man, they getting some of this. You can't even help but to come out. Have little therapy sessions and a little 10, 15-minute ride. They get in the back of my car, and when they leave empowered. I hope they do anyway. Many people have told me that. And so, those are the things that I think about because I love it. And I want to share those things with you because this gospel changed my life, y'all. It took this poor, broke, hungry, bullied little boy off the streets of Detroit and made me into something great, God's man, something that I can't even take credit for becoming. That's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why I dig into these books. I had to know what this word of God was. I had to know who Jesus was. I wanted to find out for myself. And I wanted to tap into this power that transformed my life and brought greatness out of me, where I began to transform the lives of other people. That's how I discovered my greatness, how my life had an impact on other people. You see, that's where we're going. That is the end goal of Powerful Living. All right. And so that rolls right into what we've been talking about self-esteem, building yourself up. Like Paul said, no man hates his own flesh. So you can really turn it around and say, stop it. Stop hating your own flesh. Stop it. You are literally hating your own flesh. You messing your own self up. There's things in life that you say you want and you messing it up because of who you are and your way of being and the fact that you're not doing the work on your own self-esteem for yourself. This thing will transform your life. It'll work if you work it. Oh man, you have Matthew. The book of Matthew, chapter 9 is where I'll be reading from today. So when it comes to self-esteem and doing the work to build yourself, I love who Geno Smith is, man. He said, listen, people tried to write me off, but listen, I just didn't write back. And he is doing very well in this season for the New York Jets. And then I'm also inspired by Cat Williams, man. Cat Williams said, man, they call it self-esteem for a reason. Self-esteem. Man, there's things that you got to build up on the inside of you, and only you can do the work. That's what we're talking about here. And so those are some of the things that we've been talking about and discussing. So here we go. We're going to jump right into it. Matthew chapter 9, verse 36. So here's Jesus. He's talking to his disciples, and he's looking over the crowd of people that's following him, and there's a whole, like, there's a lot of people following him, and he can see, because of who he is, his divine nature, he can see all of the things that's going on in people's hearts and minds. And here it says in verse 36, when he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. It says they were harassed and helpless. Well, who's doing the harassing? Well, it's possible that it's the enemy, because remember what Jesus said in the beginning. He said there's a thief. He's coming to kill, steal, and destroy, right? There's the enemy. And it's also possible and more likely that it's us that's doing the harassing. Especially when we talk about this area of self-esteem, as it pertains to our relationships. We cause more trouble and angst to happen in our lives. More of the things that we say we don't want, we actually do the thing that it takes to get just that, the thing that you say you don't want. And so he says they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. See, the other part of self-esteem is learning how to deal with people who don't have it. And I'm talking specifically in relationships as it relates to somebody who might be on your job, at home especially. Ooh, man, listen, y'all, 2 marriages and 2 divorces, okay? At some point, I got to begin to look in the mirror and say, what part did I play in those relationships not lasting? There's got to be some part of me that, because listen, I have the enemy in my ear telling me, hey, you're no good for a relationship. Oh, and even better than that, the enemy tells me, you're unfit for ministry. How can you be on stage and telling people how to do these things, and you've had all these, quote, failures in your life? Well, there's a real answer to that. Because number one, I am not my failures. There's a podcast a couple weeks back. You want to check that out. I am not my failures. They don't define me. And there's always a part of me that wants to do well, wants to do better, wants to get back on the saddle and try it again. And that's what God is drawn to, somebody who's not going to sit back and be overwhelmed by their failures, but somebody who wants to get up and get back. Get back up again. Oh, you got to get back up again. And so that's who I am. And so part of me says that there's work that I got to do on myself. And there's a real way that we're going to show you today. We're going to get into some how-tos. The struggles that I have in relationships, man, these things that I'm talking about in Powerful Living, man, I practice these things myself. Trust me, believe you me, I'm going to try again to make a relationship work because that's who I am. God designed us to be in relationship, to be in love, right? And so there's a part of me that wants to be better in the next relationship than I was in the last before that. And so that's where we are. Powerful living is somebody who's being willing to do the work. Okay? So there's part of self-esteem that is learning how to deal with people who don't have it. So here's Jesus. He says he was moved with compassion upon them because they were scattered like sheep abroad, having no shepherd. So there's a level of compassion that we can exhibit for people if we want to be in relationship. And sometimes the person we choose to be in relationship with has not ascended to our level of mastery in these distinctions. Just a personal example here. My friend and I were having a discussion, and she was upset. She was expressing her upset. There was something that I said that she didn't like. And here she is expressing her upset. And here we go. The same old person that I used to be is showing up again, right? And so while she's expressing, and listen to this, because I want you to, when I share my personal story, I want you to see yourself in this, okay? So while she's expressing her upset, how am I responding? I'm getting shortness of breath. My jaw is getting tight. I'm clenching my jaw. And my chest is getting tight. I might be getting a knot in my stomach. Why? Because I'm feeling defensive. Like I feel like I'm being attacked. And so now my defenses are going up. And that is ordinary. My friend, that is ordinary. There's a way of being where we can move past just being ordinary. Ordinary people respond. Well, why you always gotta be? And it's just somebody just expressing their upset about something. It's how this situation made them feel. We take it personally, yes, and they using language like, well, when you said this, you made me mad. And you right, listen, at some point, somebody's got to be better. At some point, somebody has to choose to be loving. And so for me, she's sitting there and she's having her expression of how she felt in that moment about these circumstances. And so I can either choose to be normal and do the things that I've done in the past and say, oh, well, my jaw is tight. And man, the things that she's saying are not true from my perspective, not from my perspective. They're not true from my perspective. Don't get me started about perspective, man. People can see, if you haven't seen that movie, Vantage Point, you got to see that movie, Vantage Point. One movie there's about 4 or 5 people who saw one event and it showed all of those different perspectives. And it was a masterpiece, Vantage Point. You need to see that one. So from my vantage point, the things that she was saying were not correct at all. But people don't speak the truth, and they may not even be speaking facts. But the fact is that people speak their experiences. And in the realm of their life, that's what happened. So if you want to be ordinary, go ahead and get in denial the next time your relationship partner, or your friend, or whoever it is, a coworker, and every time somebody's communicating something with you and you don't like what they're saying, go ahead and respond ordinarily and defend. And let your chest get all tight. And let your heart rate get up. And get your fangs ready to lash out. You coming back at them. That's ordinary. Yeah. And so Jesus, when he saw this multitude, it didn't say he lashed back at them and got mad at them because they were scattered abroad and tormented like sheep having no shepherd. No, it said he had compassion. Compassion means I understand who you are and I understand your weaknesses and frailties. I'm going to move to help you because I know you need help. Compassion causes you to see things from their vantage point and say, you know what? They're not somebody who needs to be yelled at. They're somebody who needs to be helped. He said, like a sheep having no shepherd. You know what shepherds do? Man, when sheep fall, they fall sometimes in a certain way that they cannot get up. And they need the shepherd to be there to pick them up. Sometimes sheep need to be guided in the right direction to find the water. Sheep don't have very good sight. They don't. And so the shepherd is there to guide them to the right thing. Why would a shepherd get mad and frustrated at a sheep being a sheep? You're supposed to be the saved one. You're supposed to be in the realm of powerful living. Because that's what Jesus said. I came that you have a life more abundantly, rich and satisfying life. That's what powerful living is. He said the power in heaven and earth has been given unto me. Now you go and you take this power and you do something with it. You're supposed to be the one that's empowered. How come you getting all frustrated and aggravated just like the person out there in the world? You're supposed to be the one with the shepherd. He is the good shepherd. Is he not helping you? And so in that moment, I chose to not be ordinary, but I just tried to be extraordinary. Listen, take personal responsibility for yourself and your actions and how you respond. That's the first how-to. How to go from ordinary responses during conflict or during relationships, no matter where they are. Take personal responsibility for yourself. That means, it's not about blaming other people. No. It's do the work on you. Take responsibility for the work that needs to be done on you. When she's sharing what she thought and what did she experience, she's sharing her experience. I got to take responsibility for what's going on in me. Why is my jaw getting tight? Why am I short of breath? And short of breath, meaning you got less oxygen in your blood. Now there's carbon dioxide building up and you feeling all tight and it's making you tense. Why? Why am I feeling defensive? Somebody got to be better. And so you take the time, you say, you know what? While she was speaking, while I was feeling tight in my chest and I was getting all nervous and anxious, I'm literally taking deep breaths. And I'm listening to what she's saying. And in my mind, I'm saying to myself, I'm okay. I don't need to be offended. She is expressing herself. She's not trying to make me wrong. And these are the things that we must do, right? I'm taking responsibility. I'm literally taking the reins of my mind. And I'm saying, whoa. Don't run down that street of panic and attack and defend. Don't go that way. Go this way. Go down the street that says compassion. I'm having compassion on her. I'm taking control of my mind. That's what personal responsibility looks like. Where you say in any given situation, I'm going to take responsibility for my actions and how I'm feeling right now in this moment. Okay. And yes, it's true. You got somebody who's always accusatory and, you always, and you don't never, all that's true. And it can frustrate you and that kind of stuff. And you got people who can just poke and poke and poke. And these people can be an antagonist. And every time they got something to say, they just poke and poke and poke. They just poke the bear and keep poking the bear. And you trying to walk away. You trying to be the better person. But here they come, even following you. You running downstairs and you just trying to run and avoid conflict. And here they come hot on your heels, running, chasing you into your own room. This is me. It's stuff that I've been through. Running from conflict, being pursued in my own house. These are things that happened to me in the past. And people just poke the bear. And yeah, you're trying to get away. And at some point, listen, I know it's true. You say you can poke the bear, and at some point, you're going to get mauled. And you can't run back to the police and say, oh, I just got mauled. Go get that bear. Well, how'd you get mauled by a bear? Well, I was poking him. You poked the bear, and now you up in front of us hollering that you got mauled? If you don't get your... That's a whole nother scenario. But when I'm talking about taking personal responsibility, I'm saying, yes, the antagonistic person is real and true. And at the end of the day, I have to say, as the bear, I chose to respond. I chose to maul. I chose to fight back and bite back. And that was a choice. Well, she made me? No. She delivered a whole bunch of different stimuli. And at the end of the day, I chose to respond. this way. That's ordinary. But Christ says, he says, I want to be moved with compassion on these people because I know who they are. They're like sheep and they don't have a shepherd. And so this truth is that I can only work on me. And there's a command that says, do the work. If you want a powerful life, you got to do the work on me. That's the only thing I can control. So in that moment, I was literally controlling my breathing, controlling my heart rate, and saying to myself, she's not attacking me. I don't have to be right. I don't have to prove her wrong in this scenario. And it literally changed my physiology. I felt better. I felt less defensive, and I was able to not respond. I just began to ask questions about what she just told me. And it helped me stay calm, this work that I did right in real time. And so I'm taking responsibility. I'm doing my deep breathing, and I'm saying, listen, you don't have to be right. You don't have to defend. She's sharing things from her perspective. All right? And listen, at some point, we have to look in the mirror. So no matter how much my responses to certain stimuli were justified or understandable, like if somebody poke the bear, it's understandable, and it's sometimes could be justified that somebody begins to lash out. So you can only take so much poking, right? You can only take so much antagonizing, right? Well, listen. If you're living in the realm that says I'm only going to take so much and then I'm going to lash out, well, listen, you can justify your behavior, can be rationalized and understandable. But all I'm saying is justification and being rationalized and understandable. All of those things never made the other side of the bed warm. Doing all of those things, doing what's expected and normal, those don't facilitate you having a powerful, loving relationship. You say you want to be in a marriage together? Well, keep on blowing up every time you get on a certain level of antagonized. And you can be justified. You can be understandable. And you can be lonely. Or alone. You may not be lonely. You may be alone. Because at some point, if you keep doing what you've been doing and you're complaining about the results that you're getting, somebody crazy. And since you can only work on you, that's your responsibility. And compassion says, you know what? All right, I got to do something different. I got to change my way of being, like right in the moment. And maybe a heart of compassion can cause me to say, okay, let's take some deep breaths. Let me not attack and defend. Because here's the truth. Nobody wants to be in a relationship with somebody who's always wanting to be right. Nobody likes a know-it-all. Nobody likes somebody who's never wrong. You don't like it in your boss. You don't like it in your supervisor. You don't like it in your spouse. You don't like it in your mama, your dad, your brother, your sister, whoever it is. Nobody likes that. So why you being that? Yeah, in this relationship, you're constantly waiting for an opportunity to defend what was said. Well, that's not what that's not what happened. No, that is not what I did. You did this. And you always turn it around. There's this back and forth thing going on. Listen, y'all, that's ordinary as hell. Keep on. If you want ordinary relationships and ordinary ways of being around people, you just keep on doing that ordinary stuff. Making people wrong, trying to be right, making people look bad, you trying to look good. Man, I was the master of that. And I'm sure it ruined relationships. Man. And especially when you have the gift that I have to be able to talk and to be able to think on the spot and to be able to be quick and clever with thoughts, man, and bring up evidences and relationships and things that happened in the past, and like a filing cabinet your mind is, and you can just pop this stuff and see, remember this, and you said that same thing then, and you spinning people around like in a whirlwind, and they don't even know how to deal with all that stuff you just threw at them, because They can't, and they don't want to. Because nobody really wants to be in relationship with somebody who's always right. And so I have to begin to get to the point where I'm okay with not being right. I gotta be that's pride. It's pride comes before fall. Boy, I just want to be better in my next relationship. Because I know in my past relationships, man, I was the wizard of right. Man, did I want to be right. And so I'm giving all of that up. And compassion says, this person obviously can't compete with me on the verbal side, and I know it. And that's your strong suit. I just go in there, I start talking. As soon as I start talking, I talk circles around them. And so that's what I knew I could do. And you know, you can overpower somebody like that. That's not loving. So if you want something different, you're doing something different. So in that moment, I didn't go into my strong suit and start talking and defending. I started asking her questions about what she experienced. Tell me what you meant when you said this. Why did that make you feel this way? So when I said that to you, you heard this. But are you aware that those actually aren't the words that I used? So since the words that I used were this, is it possible that I could have meant something else? See, I'm asking questions to get that person to share with me more of their experience, more of their thoughts. And I don't want to sit back and defend myself and try to be right if I want a powerful relationship. Because nobody wants to be in relationship with that guy, that gal. Yeah. It's true that nobody ever feels loved by somebody who's constantly making them wrong or pointing out their flaws. And it's possible that you are the way you are, so quick to defend, because you were raised by somebody who was always right and never wrong, and somebody who knew it all, never had a question. Oh gosh, who loves that person? Never had a question. They always got the answers. Well, let me tell you what that is. Well, it's not actually correct what you're saying. The truth is, nobody even asked them. God, it's just a know-it-all. And that's how we occur in these relationships, man, where we just constantly got to go on the defense and constantly got to show people that we're right and how much we know. Man, it's really tough to be in a relationship like with someone like myself. Man, I've been in ministry for 25 years. I study the word and these kinds of things that are in my life, where I can quote scripture and I know biblical principles. And man, to possibly be in a relationship with somebody who might be a new believer or not as knowledgeable as me, man, they can be intimidated by that if I flex my muscles and show how strong I am. That's not a loving environment. And so why you got to do all of that all the time? There's no reason to. It's pride. The Bible talks about condescending to them who are of low degree. And you just get down to the point where you got to say, you know what, I don't have to do all that. Tell me about your experience. Tell me about what I said that hurt you. That's called compassion. You've heard enough. I want to get on there. I want to get on with this here. Yeah. And the fact is, look at these notes. I got so many notes here. You can actually be right about their flaws, and being right will constantly cause you to be alienated from people. Being right does not attract people. If someone tells you they feel unloved by you, then it's possible that you need to do the work because they're telling you about their experience. Man, listen, how do you get to deny what they feel? That's you trying to be right and trying to make them wrong. Because if they're wrong and you're right, then who gets to be the one who needs to do the work? It's them. That's right. It's easy to sit back and say, oh, it's somebody else that needs to do work. I'm straight. If you wasn't so this, then you wouldn't be all mad. Yeah. And if you wasn't such a person that got to constantly tell them what they should be, then the relationship might be a little different. They might feel less defensive around you. They might feel less like they got to come up and be better and be stronger because you always showing how strong you are. Man, put that aside. Put that aside. And those who constantly have to be right and point out other people's flaws, welcome to the land of no relationships. Welcome to a life that is devoid of deep, meaningful, loving interactions. It's just not loving to be around somebody like that. That's not who Jesus is. And that is not who Jesus is. He is not somebody who constantly makes us wrong for our flaws. He says he was moved with compassion because he knew who we are. We were scattered abroad like sheep who had no shepherd. And that's why his name is the Good Shepherd. I don't know about you, but I want to be more like Jesus. So I got to stop it. Stop quoting scripture to everybody. Stop flexing your intellectual muscles with everybody. You know, it's like wrestling with a kid. You got to overpower them every time. No, let them think they beat you. It's what what harm is it gonna be for you to seem like you're lost? Unless you're somebody who's constantly committed to winning. And if you're constantly committed to winning, welcome to a world devoid of powerful relationships. So the next how-to, as we just explained, is resist. I can resist efforts to be right and to look good. Just resist it. It just doesn't profit anything in a relationship, not at work, not with your family, and definitely not with your loved ones. You gotta, at some point, we got to resist efforts to look good and to be right. Because you come across as condescending. You come across as arrogant. And nobody ever described someone's good attributes like that. You know, I just love my husband. He's so arrogant and right, and he's so prideful. I just love that about him, you know. You know, one of the things I love about my wife is constantly right. And listen, she's such a generous person in that she gives me every opportunity to see when I've been wrong. I love that about her. She's so generous. That's how we occur to people, though. Man, it's true. Powerful living is powerful loving. A powerful life is powerful love and compassion. And the two just can't be separated. You can't separate a powerful life from powerful loving towards people. And I think it's a good thing that Christ did not have that attitude towards us. There's always accusing, man. It's just, accusations do not create love. Well, you did this and you did that and you always say this, and every time I try, it's accuse. That stuff does not create love. It creates fear. You know the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is fear. This is according to the scriptures. I told you I'm not giving you my opinion on things. I'm giving you facts. This is according to the scriptures. God has not given us the spirit of love. No, he says he has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and of a sound mind. Yeah. So he says, not fear, but love. He didn't say fear and not hate. He says love and fear are opposites. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. And so all these accusations and this desire to be right, I got to resist those if I want to create an atmosphere of love. And the opposite is creating an atmosphere of fear. And nobody does well in an atmosphere of fear. Just think about it on your job. How many people there are afraid of losing their job? You show me a workplace where most of the people are afraid of losing their job, and I'll show you a workplace where morale is super low and turnover is super high. Mm-hmm. And here's a good distinction here too. And the sad thing, this is really sad too. This is where people just don't know how to resist these ways of being. And it only occurs at home. You go out into work and you're this powerful, understanding, high level communicator. And you love people and you got a smile and you got energy. And then you come home and you talk noise and you're negative and just sad. And you're always accusing and being unloving. That is, man, God gonna get you for that. It's a shame that people get the best of you at church and you come home and be sinful and devilish to your spouse. That's a doggone shame. You go to work and you're powerful and positive and loving everybody and come home and talk noise to your kids and constantly demean them and talk down to them. See, that's ordinary. But someone who wants to be extraordinary says, I can be more loving at home. And how does that start? It starts by you owning your feelings in that moment where you're saying, all right, this is coming across as a little hurtful and I'm just going to breathe deeply right now. I'm going to do it right now. Here I go. I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to fight back. I'm not going to bite back. I will not defend. There's nothing wrong. I will not defend right now. There's nothing wrong. I will not defend. See? You remind yourself of what you say you want. You know, I want to be somebody who's loving and powerful. I want to have a powerful relationship right now. And in that moment, why they mad? They mad now. They mad. They mad at home or whoever they're. And then you have to say to yourself, why they being mad? I want to have a powerful relationship with this person. You're deep breathing at the same time. Try it. And when you try it, you respond. Send me an email or a text message or whatever you want to do. Give us a call. And let us know how these how-tos work for you. You have these deep breathing exercises. You're saying in your mind that I do not have to take offense. I don't have to defend that accusation. I don't have to be right. I don't have to prove that I wasn't wrong. Let that stuff go. Let it go. It just doesn't matter much. Ask questions about the frustration. So let me ask you a question. When I did that, why did that frustrate you so much? When I said this, because you said I said that, tell me why that hurt you so. Tell me more about that. Where does that come from? Yeah. And I had in my relationship where you'll find, and I've discovered, that a lot of their hurts and pains actually don't come from you. They're not about you. They're about who they were in the past and who treated them a certain way in the past. And now the way you're treating them reminds them of that. It's called being triggered, and they're triggered and they're responding not to you in this situation. They're responding out of the stuff that happened in the past and this situation. That's why the response is over the top. And you feel attacked, and now you feel like you got to defend, and you can just resist that and just begin to ask more questions. Why did that make you feel that way? Where does that come from? When was the last time you felt that way? And you begin to learn more about their story, more about who they are, and you'll find out that, especially in relationships, man, I found out that, there's a person who said, listen, I don't feel like I deserve you. I don't feel like I deserve you. Now, check out where the emphasis is, because I don't feel like I deserve you. They feel like possibly somebody deserves you because they're recognizing that you're something good and there's relationships, good possibilities that you bring to a relationship. But they said, I don't feel like I deserve you. And somebody says that, you know that they got something going on in them. It's got nothing to do with you. And now you just got to ask yourself, do you want to be powerful and help them to uncover this distinction that says, why do you feel like you don't deserve me? And most of the time, if they don't feel good enough, they don't feel worthy, and they're afraid to lose this relationship, man, that's going to cause fear and strife and jealousy and all kinds of stuff in that relationship. And if you don't get to the bottom of it, welcome once again to the world devoid of powerful relationships. Keep on defending. Or you can take personal responsibility and say, hey, listen, I got to grab hold of myself and take care of my own responses because that's all I can be responsible for. All right, listen. We get out of relationships what we create. Nobody deserves a powerful, loving relationship. We get what we create. And the way you create anything, any kind of environment, is you begin to speak to whom? To who? To myself, because that's the only person I can control. I begin to speak these things to myself. I'm controlling my breathing. I'm going through my vocalizations. I'm saying, hey, listen, this is who I am in this situation. I got to be better. I got to be more loving. I want to be more like Christ. I want to do better in this relationship than I did in the past. Listen, my friend, this is how you do it. Powerful living is powerful loving, and the two cannot be separated. And so if you'll take into practice these things that I've shared with you, you'll find yourself on a journey of transformation. You'll be able to create a powerful, loving person on the inside of yourself. And then you're able to show up for other people in that way. But you've got to be willing to do the work. This stuff just doesn't happen. It's about the things that you work for and create. Listen, people do not get what they deserve. People get what they create. I believe if I deserve to be a household name and have a worldwide ministry where Powerful Living Outreach Ministries is a worldwide name, everybody knows about me and they're tuning in to hear what I have to say to help them get from where they are living a life that they love through Jesus Christ, right? Is that something that I deserve? No. The skills that I have, the ability to communicate, the knowledge of scriptures, to be able to give facts. Man, listen, all of these things are great, but they don't create something just because I deserve it because I have that skill set. If my name is going to go anywhere past my household, I've got to be the one to put the videos together. I got to do the work on social media. I got to do the work on my content. I got to listen to people, study. I got to improve my mind, improve my thoughts, gain experiences. All of these things create what I say I want. If I want a worldwide network of people who want to hear what I have to say, I don't deserve it. I create it. And if you want a powerful, loving relationship, you got to create it. You got to be the same powerful, loving person that you are at work. Bring that person home. You a minister at work, bring that ministry home. Time out for folks out there getting the best of you, and then you come home, and the people at home, the people whom you love the most, kids running around, they look like you, got your attributes, got your features. They should be getting the best part of you. And it takes courage, it takes moral courage to be able to say, I'm going to do the work. I'm going to look in the mirror every day and say, I'm going to be a better person today than I was yesterday. I'm going to practice my deep breathing. I'm going to not take things personally. I'm going to try to resist making other people wrong and resist the opportunity to prove that I'm right and stop trying not to look bad and stop trying to show people how they look bad and use my strong suits and go all up in arms and tell people how wrong they are, and all of that kind of stuff contributes to the thing that you say you don't want. And so I'm going to have compassion on people the way Jesus said. He looked at the crowd and he saw that they were tormented. They were scattered abroad like sheep having no shepherd. He is the good shepherd. And if he is the lover of our souls, if he is on the inside of us, then the way he loves us, we'll begin to love people. And it first starts with doing the work. Self-esteem, building up yourself, saying what God says about you, being to other people who God has been to you. That's powerful living, my friend. We can do this together. I love you, and I'm on this journey too. I'm sharing with you things that I've been through because I want you to know that this is not something that I have achieved or arrived at. Man, we're working through this thing together. But listen, if you follow me as I follow Christ, we'll go from powerful church services and powerful sermons to powerful living. Henry Flowers, Powerful Living Outreach Ministries. I ain't going nowhere. I'm coming back